Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Boulder Canyon here in Farming Simulator 19. And yes, I have got another stinking cold this week, and I did put up a little notice about it. I'm doing shorter videos for the ones that I haven't already recorded. I have actually, I've already said this earlier in the week in the other Farming Simulator, but I'll say this for people that haven't watched that, just in case. I have found out why I've been getting an unusual number of colds this year. I have had a bit of a problem with one of my teeth over the last 9 months, where it's been hurting sometimes when I chew on it. Not very often, but sometimes it's been hurting when I chew on it. After some x-rays in hospital, because they thought that it might be because of a misshapen wisdom tooth that I might have had to have extracted, but it turns out that it's not that. It's the wisdom tooth has done some damage to the tooth in front of it, that sort of thing, and it means that I now have to have that tooth taken out because there is an infection under that tooth. That's why it's been hurting. And it's had an infection under it for well, probably since Christmas, which would explain why I've had a number of colds since Christmas. I think I've had maybe 3 or 4 different colds since Christmas, which is a huge number, and I've had people expressing some concern about my general well-being. Well, that would explain why I've been getting colds. Having a slight infection under a tooth, that means it's going to be wearing down my immune system, and that would be it's a very good explanation as to why I've been getting these colds. So there we go, problem solved, and I now have the absolute luxurious experience of heading off to the dentist and having him get his trusty pliers and ripping out one of my teeth. So that will be sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure exactly when it will be. I've still yet to make the appointment. Out will come the offending tooth. I will refrain from doing a live stream that week because I will try to get it scheduled for a Friday so that I can get all my other recording done during the week, and then I've got the weekend to recover, and then I should be able to talk properly by the Monday. At least this is what I'm hoping. So this week I'm doing the minimum amount of recording possible. I've been feeling like I've had the flu this weekend. It's been awful. I've been in bed for almost all of it, and this is the other reason why I do almost all of my recording more than a week in advance. I try to get myself a week ahead on all of my recording. I'm going to go back over to this tractor a minute, and we're going to watch this one. So at the moment, all we're doing is we're waiting for the ploughing to finish up there, and we're waiting for this one to finish down here. We've got a seed drill that we want to buy. We haven't gone and bought it yet, have we? Actually, let's go over to the shop a minute and have a look. I've been having people tell me that... Okay, I've been having people tell me that there are some other direct drills that are available on the mod hub, or other mods. Somebody told me that there is a mod you can get that's a 9-meter drill that's got fertilizer in it as well, and it's a direct drill, and you only need 150 horsepower to pull it, and it only costs $2,000 or $3,000 or something. Yeah, I know that there are mods like that out there, and I do appreciate that, but that is about as far from realistic as you can get. If you've got a mod like that, if you've got a machine like that, you know, is priced at that kind of range, it's not going to do you a lot of good, is it? It's like you think about it, you get that back to your farm, you're going to spend more time fixing it than you are actually being able to use it. And so for that reason, I don't actually want such a thing on my farm. That is why I am going to be spending out the money on this one here. Now, I do appreciate the main argument against this one being that we cannot put fertilizer in it as well. That is the main argument against it, and that one I do appreciate. That is an argument that, yes, I do agree with. It would be a lot better if we could have one that had fertilizer go into it, much like that one there. We don't really have the capacity to pull that one, nor do we have the horsepower. We don't have the horsepower to pull it, really, and we don't really have the money for it either, so we're going to really struggle to do that one. I don't think that one's That was not really for us, is it? That one's not going to happen. But we do have some other options. We've got our seed drill over here. Apparently, getting out of that tractor is not an easy option. Get out of the tractor over here. And let's have a look back through. So we've got this one here that we do want to return. And we can sell that one, and that should then get us enough money for the rest of the work, except that we're not quite going to have enough money for everything if we get that if we get the other seed drill as well. So at the moment we might just have to accept that we've got to stick with the seed drill that we've got, and then we'll get the direct drill ready for next time. It has been said, why am I cultivating if I'm getting a direct drill? Because we're ploughing. And even if you use a direct drill, you still need to cultivate after ploughing, because otherwise the tilth on the soil, it's going to be too rough and lumpy, and it's not going to be very good for the young plants coming through. A direct drill doesn't break it down fine enough, not unless it's got an actual power harrow built into it. It's not going to work properly. So it's not really an option for us to go using a direct drill straight onto the ploughed land. That's why we're doing the cultivating over there. I've had a number of people talking about what realism we do use on this series, and what realism we perhaps should be using, and what we shouldn't be using. Couple of different things. The tabbing between machines. Some of you are saying yes, some of you are saying no. Now, I tab between the machines purely because this is a game mechanic that allows me to quickly get from one to the other. I've got hired help going up and down the field, so I'm checking on the hired help and I'm seeing how they're getting on with their work. But it's also a game mechanic that allows me to very quickly hop around. The whole idea of this series is I'm supposed to be showing you everything that's going on. I'm supposed to be showing you every bit of what I do. I'm not cutting bits out. I'm not like just sitting and watching it going up and down the screen for 20 minutes and then editing that bit out so you don't have to watch it. If I watch it, you watch it. That's how it happens. And the tabbing between machines is just something that I thought I would start. Well, certainly with the hired help, it does make it easier. Getting over to the shop makes it easier. It's just to kind of speed things along a little bit. It just helps things along a little bit like that. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that that is an acceptable thing for me to be doing. I don't think that it's detracting from it. So that bit aside, the realism concerning crop destruction. I turned crop destruction off last time, and I was driving in the crop when we were harvesting. Now, a lot of people said they didn't really mind about that because the hired help was stopping while he was in the crop. Some people said, well, actually, and this is one of those instances where I'm going to be listening to the minority rather than the majority. The majority of you said, go for it, turn it off, and just follow it, because you're overcoming a game mechanic. The game mechanic has got the hired help stopping with the spout out over the grain, and you're just overcoming this, and you're not destroying all of your crop anyway. With crop destruction, when you drive on your fields when the crop is growing, it doesn't do it the kind of damage that the game suggests that it does, right? It recovers very quickly, so that's kind of a false mechanic anyway. But for the final crop, it does squash it down to the ground a bit. There's no getting around that. So it sort of crushes it up a bit. And so it can cause a problem or two. But it was pointed out, well, actually, if you've got someone who's inexperienced with the combine, maybe you need to be keeping an eye on them. Maybe you need to be keeping an eye on when the grain tank is full and emptying them out before they turn round and put the spout on the wrong side. And that's actually a fair point. I should be paying a bit more attention to it. So, for that reason, I'm going to be keeping the crop destruction. I'm going to be putting that back on again. And we will keep the crop destruction on. So this time I'm listening to the minority rather than majority. I've listened to your reasoned arguments on both sides of the fence. and I've made my choice on that one. So like I've said before, I don't always guarantee that I'm going to go with the popular vote. I go with the one that makes the most sense, even if it's the one that's got the least number of votes. And I told you all to tell me what you thought. You've all told me what you thought, and I've gone and I've looked and I've weighed up your various different arguments, and I have to agree that I think that maybe we should have the maybe we should be having the crop destruction on with this series. It seems to make more sense, actually, because this is supposed to be hardcore. We are supposed to be doing things slightly more difficult, and I'm also attempting to do things slightly more realistic. So yeah, we will go for it. We will do it like that. Now, it's going to start raining soon, but what we're going to do now is we're already full of grain. We're going to slow it down to 1 times speed as we're going to start planting. We're going to use the little IMT to start doing the planting. We may change things over at some point. I'm not quite sure when, but I was just wondering if I should do some fertilizer over the field first, or if I should just get going with this one up and down the field. Fertilizer on the field might not be a bad idea, you know. Right, let's go and have a look. We're just getting rid of the ploughing bit. That bit's being worked on. That's all fertilized up there. We don't need to worry about that field. So it's this one down here. I'm thinking, actually, we ought to put fertilizer on first. If we do fertilizer first, then we can put some seed on. Then I think we can put another round of fertilizer on. That's going to... Okay, I know I'm cutting bits out there, but that's because I'm cutting out me having a coughing fit. You don't really want to be listening to that. I'm going to put fertilizer on first, and then once we've done that, then we'll go and start doing the seed. I think that's going to be the best way, because we should be able to get 2 coats of fertilizer on before we get the first emergence, and then we can go and put one last one on after that, if all goes well. If all goes well. Right, let's go up through here. Oh, he's got a nice wide spread on him as well. Well, reasonably wide spread on him. So we can run this up through here. It doesn't matter if we go over the ploughed land. And we will actually do that a bit. We'll go bouncing over the ploughed land up over that side. Yeah, I'm going to go and jump over to that tractor a minute. Let's just bring this back round over to here and stop him there. Right. And I will quickly go through, not to you, to you. Right. Let me just go and deal with this bit over here a second. So yeah, if you do have any particular complaints or concerns, or you think that something is not being done right or is being done right in this series, then let me know. And I'm always open to reasoned discussion. Random insults I don't much care for. And you're likely to get a sarcastic response if I'm feeling in a particularly... Well, it depends what sort of mood I'm in. I might just ignore it, or I might put something there in return. But, yeah, if you put in... if you've got a concern about how I'm doing it, or you think that I should be doing it slightly differently, or if you think that some mechanic should be used or shouldn't be used, and so on and so forth... say so, and I will weigh up your argument and see what I think, and then compare that with what I think and how I think things should be going. And I'm not always going to just acquiesce and say, yep, definitely that's what we'll do from now on because you've yelled, but I will weigh it up. I always weigh up what people want and the reasons behind it, and then think, well, you know, is this like a good idea or a bad idea or what? You know, how am I going to be looking at this? And sometimes I'll say, yep, actually that's a pretty good and well-reasoned argument, and we'll go along with that, like crop destruction. So yeah, despite the fact that I personally don't like crop destruction, and the vast majority of you said, yeah, keep crop destruction off, the whole driving around on the crop thing, that's a very valid point, really, isn't it? Right? We shouldn't have been driving around on the crop like that, regardless. You know, if we weren't paying attention to the combine and it was on the wrong side, we've got a slightly inexperienced driver anyway. We should be paying a bit more attention to that, and we'll just have to move the combine back out around. Little things like that. So we will pay attention to that. Now, are you still... Yes, you are still running. We've got our electric tractor here. Very weird, this electric tractor. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit more today, and then I'm going to call it quits, because, like I said, I'm keeping my videos short this week. Not all of my videos are short this week. It's only anything I'm recording this week, because I'm mostly trying to do as little recording as possible. And many of you know by now I stay about a week ahead on all of my recordings. Well, if I can get there, I get to about 2 weeks ahead, and then I have a day or two off to go and do other things. But if I can try and stay a week ahead, that gives me a buffer. If something comes up, if something happens, then I've got a couple of weeks. I've got a week where I can, you know, I can be ill if I need to be ill. I can go out. Family emergency can happen. I can take Sen to the hospital for a few days if that's what needs to happen. If something has come up, then she needs a hospital trip. There's 101 different things that might happen. So I always try and keep... Okay, that's slowing down a lot. I always try and keep a week to 10 days ahead minimum. This is why it takes such a long time for me to respond in a lot of the videos. The only exception to this rule is this series. I record this series each week as it happens. This is the only exception, and the time-lapse. So if something drastic comes up, then sometimes, very occasionally, I actually have to cancel the time-lapse, because... Why is that there? Oh, I know why. It's because crop was destroyed there or something. Very, very occasionally I may have to cancel the time-lapse because I haven't got time to record it that week. But I do like to keep that one. I make that one each week that it goes out, because it's just easier that way. I can then sort of keep on top of any big important mods that might come out, and it's just easier for me as well to kind of stay on top of what things are happening with it. And this series as well, I do sort of keep this one going along those lines, where I record it each week as it goes out, rather than getting any... Well, I don't get ahead on this one at all. This is the only one, and there isn't really any particular reason other than the fact that this one, because I record it as completely separate episodes, unlike everything else that I record now, it takes a bit more work to do each one, and that's about the only reason. But anyway, like I said, it's shorter episodes this week, so we're just going to get up to the end of the field up here, and then I'm going to call it quits for today. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Sorry, it wasn't all that much. Yeah, like I said, horrible cold. But tooth coming out soon, and that should cure everything. That should be the ultimate cure-all for everything. Once we get that tooth gone, everything's going to be so much better. It's all going to be absolutely beautiful and wonderful. So there we go. We'll bring that one on round there. So if you enjoyed the episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.